Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I'm the Gray Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Wednesday, October 4th, 2023. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread? First card we are starting our day off with today is Page of Wands in its reversal. So this is speaking right now towards situations or circumstances where we may be seeing some issues around communication hurdles, communication blockages. This could even be right now having to deal with some of these today. For masculine and feminine energy, one of the things that we've been seeing that has been creating a bit of a challenging space right now as it relates to partnership has been the fact that a lot of those outside obligations have been making the communication in the partnership strained to a certain degree. There may even be a feeling right now in partnership that there hasn't been a lot of time to orient towards a partnership at this moment due to the concentration of those external obligations and factors. This is something that could be reaching a bit of a point today that needs to be addressed. This could also, for partnered energies right now, have to do with having to deal with circumstances and situations, dealing with energy that needs some kind of support, needs some kind of feedback, is not necessarily able to support themselves to the full degree or facility that you would desire them to. So this may having to come into support for energy that effectively needs this kind of support outside the partnership itself. For masculine and feminine energy that is working to come into partnership at this time, this is more of that hurdle that we keep seeing as it relates to the communication blockage and hurdle. One of the things that we identified for the energies that are moving into partnership at this time is the fact that there seems to be while there is a unified desire, a unified goal that you're working to achieve right now, it is effectively how you're choosing to do that is effectively feeling like a bit of an imbalance. Feminine has one very specific direction that they want masculine to move into. Masculine is very resistant to moving into that direction. There was even potentially coming into play yesterday some point of trying to come to a level or degree of compromise, trying to find some middle ground or new alternatives to the circumstances and situations that feel like they're blocking the partnership at this moment to allow for greater easement going forward. This is some of that still outstanding today. Because again, there may be feeling like a point of feeling a bit put out today as it relates to trying to come into partnership, being like, I don't know what to say, because each energy is waiting for the other one to take the step necessary to bring into deeper union. For masculine and feminine energy in separation at this time, this is more of that feeling right now of lack of communication coming through. Why are we seeing this lack of communication coming to the surface right now? Well, specifically because for feminine energy, we are identifying and recognizing that the feminine energy was moving through 1 or 2 different vibrations today. Yesterday, we saw that this was feminine energy that was either deeply committed to not going back to circumstances or situations wherein they were not moving them to the level or degree of divine union that they themselves are seeking at this time. This is more of that confirmation of the feminine energy not to communicate with any energy that is in that vibration. Similarly and simultaneously right now, we are also seeing potentially a secondary window that is opening up here for the feminine energy, having to do with energy that, again, some potential partnership opportunity was offered, potentially even rejected, potentially even turned down. This could even be more of that contemplation about whether you want to get in contact with that energy, but also recognizing and feeling the fact that like you don't necessarily trust the communication coming from it. Now, second card we have coming through in our 5-card spread for today is we have here the Hierophant, and we love to see this card coming into play today for all energies. Now, for masculine energy that is in separation at this time, forgot to mention that one as well, we were also seeing that there is something that is coming to the forefront right now about the fact that the masculine energy in separation on both sides of that breakage point that we saw, the masculine energy that was choosing their autonomy above all things, or the masculine but is now recognizing and realizing that it's more of an articulation on the type of union that they are desiring and aspiring for, or the masculine energy that is trying to move back towards a feminine at this time that they are accessing or desiring divine union with. There is a feeling right now of an inability to communicate. For the masculine energy in separation right now, this is potentially recognizing and feeling right now that there's a point or degree of a lack of ability to communicate right now, because the communication would have to be on what partnership looks like, what commitment looks like. There may even be right now, for some of this masculine collective, this is potentially trying to identify or get some kind of sense of what the level of commitment of the energy they're trying to move towards is at this time. For half the masculine collective right now in separation, this is trying to figure out a way to communicate what it is that you actually want with an energy. For the other part of the masculine energy in separation at this time, this is effectively trying to communicate, to identify and understand if there is commitment that is effectively blocking communication between you and what your heart's desire is at this time. While for feminine energy right now that is in separation, this is again more of that commitment that we see that the feminine is really making right now to the level and degree of commitment that they aspire to. For feminine energy that is moving right now with a lot of determination to divine partnership and divine union, this is again focusing on that aspiration above all else, potentially blocking or not communicating with energy that you feel you're not necessarily seeing and experiencing this right now. For the other part of the feminine collective right now, this could potentially be the conversation of having something with masculine energy. Potentially, again, if you're trying to keep this energy in your vibration or keep this connection open to a certain extent, especially if there's been some moment or degree where this energy has articulated to you that there is a limitation or blockage as it relates to the ability or degree to have commitment. This is a moment that you may be kind of articulating to that energy that even though you may be introducing or welcoming them back into your life, you are staying entirely focused on actually maintaining and finding that level or degree of commitment at this time. So the feminine energy, even while there was a bit of a split yesterday, we see them coming back together because again, for both energies in separation, there's really kind of an orientation that's being paid right now to say, listen, commitment is still what the aspiration is. Even if you're in my life right now, you have to recommend and understand that commitment is above and all what that priority is at this moment. While for masculine and feminine energy that is working to come into partnership and union right now, this is a moment of having to really puzzle out and work out if this is going to feel like a possibility or something that is possible at this time. What we're seeing that is causing a bit of a friction point here is this is the moment that we are identifying that for the energies that are trying to come into partnership at this time, this is a feeling of really putting the test of the commitment into play, into practice. Because again, masculine and feminine energy, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, are looking at the other energy to see what they say, to see how they act, to say, are you showing a level or degree or ability to move into this space and place of commitment? While for masculine and feminine energy right now, that are in partnership, that are in union, this is effectively that moment that the partnership and the union is effectively helping refortify and encourage. And this is either going to be in one of two different areas. This is either navigating spaces and places outside of the partnership that require some point of support. In a way, it's almost like the partnership itself is coming to the aid of some energy outside of the partnership that needs this level or degree of assistance. While for the other part of the collective right now that is in partnership or union, this could be having a lot of discussion based today on the partnership itself. This is potentially a lot of that work that we saw that was being shelved over the last few days coming back into the forefront today. Third card in our 5-card spread for today is, we have here our Page of Pentacles in its reversal. So even for the energy right now that is in partnership, there is a moment or a feeling today of really trying to hold on strongly to the commitment itself. There's a moment right now that is feeling like it is a bit of a challenging space right now, because in a way, it's almost like the partnership itself is being challenged or made more difficult by external factors outside of the partnership. This is something that the partnership or the union energy is trying to navigate together right now. This could even be, again, coming to the support, coming to the assistance of energy that effectively needs this and doesn't have it for themselves at this moment. Or simultaneously, this could be having to experience some situations or circumstances that feel like they are challenging the partnership itself, but the partnership is effectively holding firm in that situation or circumstance as they move forward from this point. While for masculine and feminine energy that is moving into partnership at this time, this is more of what we've been seeing. This is literally masculine and feminine energy looking to each other to say, are you able to provide what is necessary to be able to come into union and partnership at this time? We are identifying that there was a point of compromise. This is something that we keep coming back to. This is like a repeating pattern right now for these energies that are trying to come into union at this point. Feminine may have effectively been saying to masculine that they need to see them pull their energy from some circumstances or situations. They need some evidence that that's effectively occurring. Masculine is feeling like feminine isn't being open to them to the degree that they would ideally availably aspire to, which is also creating some of the hesitancy for the masculine doing this. So this is creating a little bit of like a you first, chicken and egg situation. One is saying that they want the other person to do something before they'll open up more. The other person is saying, I will do it after you open up more, with the partnership itself on the line. While for masculine and feminine energy that is in separation at this point, this is again going to feel like a bit of a challenging space right now, because again, we are seeing that this is feminine energy right now that is in separation, that is again holding firm to commitment being their aspiration, their main focus. Above all, this is the priority at this time. For feminine energy right now, this is also potentially looking, again, two different modalities. This is either feminine energy that is navigating spaces and places right now where they are moving away. They're cutting ties from energy that is not offering them this. This is something that they're just not necessarily willing to entertain and leave any space for at this time. Versus the other part of the feminine energy that may be in the opposite side of this. They're entertaining outside energy that isn't offering this, but they're all potentially even articulating to those energies exactly what their place is in their life as they continue to move towards what they are aspiring for, which is partnership at this time. While for masculine energy that is in separation at this moment, again, for both sides of the modality that we were identifying for the masculine, i.e. the masculine energy, that recognize that thought at first that they wanted autonomy, but now you're kind of realizing that it's not autonomy that you're seeking, but a very, very specific form of partnership. This is effectively you having this moment that you're, again, still feeling a little put out at this time. We did identify for some of this masculine energy right now. This is a moment of potentially trying to even go back to some energy to see if this is a possibility now that you recognize that this was something that was offered to you in the past, but you didn't necessarily observe and receive it as such. This is that moment that you're feeling, again, the joint anxiety about communication and whether it will be received what you're trying to offer at this time. While for the other part of the masculine collective right now, this is effectively you finally aspiring, desiring to come into union at this point. But again, deep, deep, deep anxiety as it relates to having to communicate with some energy about what it is that you truly desire at this time, with the fear that it will not be received. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Fourth card in our 5-card spread for today is, we have here our Page of Cups in its reversal. So, lot of reversed page energy today, my friends. What are we effectively seeing here right now? For masculine and feminine energy in partnership at this time, this could be feeling like there is a lot of external energy around the partnership right now that needs to be navigated. This is like giving a lot of rough water outside the partnership itself that almost needs you to hold some kind of space for it, due to the fact that the partnership itself lends some level or degree of security at this time. This could be, again, navigating, and again, I'm going to say this is either one of two different circumstances that we're effectively seeing right now as it relates to partnership. This is either going to be partnerships that are coming to the aid, coming to the assistance of energy that is around them at this time, and there's a lot of it. Potentially helping them to understand and identify what needs to be corrected. The other part of the partnered energy right now could feel like there's a lot of outside energies that are feeling like they're just creating challenges to the partnership at this moment. So again, being able to assess and analyze your approach in these circumstances and situations is going to feel very important. We did also identify that, again, for the masculine and feminine energy at this time that's in partnership or union, there is this moment that we keep seeing about consolidating one's own energy. Really trying to identify what feels like it is like in alignment with you versus something that you feel is creating a blockage or hurdle. This could be more of that work that we see that is coming into play today, especially as it relates to the partnership energy, because even the partnerships today are feeling a little challenged by the external influences surrounding the partnership at this moment. While for masculine and feminine energy trying to move into partnership right now, this is a lot of that heavy energy, because again, this could even be speaking right now to all of the external energy that is potentially interfering with the ability or possibility of partnership at this time. We identified for both masculine and feminine energy right now trying to come into partnership. There are big questions about some of these external energies that are surrounding the possibility of partnership and union at this time. Feminine wanted to see some direct action from masculine to help them feel re-encouraged and reinforced that the energy around these circumstances and situations completely identifies and understands that masculine is moving into this level or degree of partnership. For some of the feminine energy right now, the point of feeling some point of friction is that you're not necessarily feeling or observing that to the degree that you would effectively aspire right now. And that is problematic for the feminine energy right now because that is what you need. Again, we're pointing out that this is feminine energy that was very trepidatious about coming into union with masculine in the first place because of experiences of this nature. Feminine is effectively needing this right now as confirmation and evidence about the priority that the feminine plays in the masculine's life at this time. Masculine, if you're trying to come into union at this moment, you are also feeling this weight. You are potentially also feeling this pressure, but you're also potentially feeling in a way or degree that you're maybe feeling a bit like you're being backed into a corner, if you will, because there's something here that may be feeling right now that nothing that you can effectively do feels like it is the right thing to do. I need to stress that for the energies that are trying to come into partnership at this moment, having a lot of empathy for each other right now is going to be very key, because for masculine, we are potentially seeing here that what may be evolving as it relates to the partnership with feminine at this time is potentially some feeling of frustration because, again, you're not necessarily getting the openness from the feminine that you would effectively aspire to. It's limiting you in terms of what you want to do right now and how you want to act because there's a deeper anxiety of the masculine right now that feminine isn't necessarily desiring this partnership, that this is just basically creating hurdles or blockages that may not necessarily lead anywhere. And for masculine right now, there's this point that is also driving you back and forth right now because this is almost this point where you're recognizing right now like the fact that like this is feeling like a deeper commitment, a deeper partnership. It's almost like assessing exactly like what you'll have to do in order to move into it. While for feminine and masculine that are in separation right now, this is going to feel very different. For feminine energy right now, this is feeling a lot of frustration in the energy that's around you at this time. This is just feeling like a lot of frustration. This is even for some of the feminine energy right now. I'm seeing this as feminine energy that's now starting to move forward back into the field. They're like moving back into like dipping their toe into seeking new opportunities, new experiences with masculine. And this is the frustration in terms of what you're potentially finding right now. This is feeling all of the hurdles, the setbacks, new communication coming in, things that need to kind of like, this is giving a lot of like things that are starting up, things that feel like hesitant. This is feeling like a lot of like next kind of energy that we're almost seeing for the energy that is in separation at this time as you try to like fend through and find some kind of opportunity or experience that is something that you would aspire and move into as it relates to feeling like there is a connection here. This is giving a lot, it's actually, I know this looks a little weird right now, but I need to stress that for feminine energy and separation right now, this is effectively like what I'm seeing here. This is like this is like tarot scrolling, if you will. This is like the closest approximation that we could possibly see right now to like tarot scrolling. You're looking through different options around you with the desire for commitment going, no, oh no, absolutely not. Because there's something here about the but this is good because what we're actually seeing here right now is the fact that the feminine is committing themselves to finding the commitment, okay? While for feminine energy right now, again, this could also be some feminine energy welcoming back in some energy that they've now kind of like put in a certain box. This is potentially feminine energy that desired some point or degree of partnership or union with some energy in the past, knows that that's not going to be there, but they're leaving effectively the door open for them, but they're making it very clear like what those situations and circumstances are because this is still feminine that's very much focused on the commitment path. For masculine energy right now that is in separation, this is feeling like really put out. There's something here about really feeling put out to a certain level or degree today, masculine, if you're in separation at this moment, because again, for half of the masculine collective right now, Again, this is either the half that thought that they desired autonomy, but now you're recognizing that it's not necessarily autonomy that you want because you gave yourself autonomy. You hated it. You realize that you don't want to be in autonomy. You just have a very specific thing that you're looking for. It's really more of that point of frustration that we're seeing here because like you feel completely put out in terms of how to articulate it. Again, for some of the masculine collective right now, this could be you wanting or desiring to go back to some energy that you now kind of recognize was offering this possibility or opportunity. And now you're just feeling completely put out. You're almost sitting here. And again, you're almost like trying to assess right now if this is something that is possible at this time. But you're now focusing also, we appreciate this though, because the energy that thought they wanted autonomy now recognizes that they actually do want some kind of partnership. It's just very specific. And now you're feeling some anxiety because you also, again, this is either you feeling some point of degree where you were trying to go back to something and you're now feeling the weight of understanding or trying to recognize the anxiety if that's something that is still available or open to you. For the other part of the masculine collective right now, trying to move towards their heart's desire at this time, desiring, finally coming into a space or place where you're recognizing that you desire commitment, that you desire divine union. I'm effectively seeing that here we are observing a point or a space right now that, again, you are also feeling very put out. Again, these two energies are coming back into alignment because both now are seeking something. They seek the commitment. But there's a lot of anxiety in terms of moving towards it because there's something about the commitment that you're trying to move towards right now. Is like, you don't know if it's still there. You don't know if it's still going to be available. You don't know how to open up and ask about it. You don't even know if the energy that you're trying to move towards right now is already committed to someone else in this capacity or degree. This is creating a moment like, right now for masculine that's in separation, that's feeling this right now. Continuing to get clarification, fifth card in our 5-card spread before we start getting clarification on these cards today. One card, please. Thank you so much. King of, oh my gosh, masculine. Are you guys okay? Are you guys okay today? Are you guys okay? Are you guys okay? No, really, are you okay today? Please, masculine. If you see your masculine energy today, just give them a hug. No questions. Just hug the masculines today. Anybody who sees a masculine, just bring them in. Just bring them in today, guys. They're going to need it. They're going to need it, okay? This is a lot. This is a lot of reversed energy for masculine right now. So again, even in partnership at this moment, there's something that masculine is going through right now that feels very emotionally overwhelming. This is creating a space or place that may even have to do with some outside people, some outside situations, some outside circumstances are happening right now. This could even be masculine observing some things happening in their circle right now that is very hard to navigate or bear right now. This is just creating a space or place where like feminine, like there's going to be a lot of leaning on the masculine energy today on the partnership itself at this moment to try to get that level or degree of support. Feminine, you may be identifying and recognizing this right now. For the feminine right now, about in this space or place right now, this could be feeling like it's not just coming from your own masculine today. This could be feeling for the feminine that there's just a lot of energy coming towards you right now, really needing the support. And almost like, again, there's something about you being in the partnership right now that's almost like fortifying you to be able to provide it in some level or degree of capacity at this time. For the other part of the masculine and feminine collective in partnership right now, this could be really having to rely on each other at this time to help each other through some very challenging circumstances and situations as it relates to outside energy. So for both sides of the partnerships right now, this is energy that either needs your help or energy outside of it that feels like it's challenging the partnership itself. Two different modalities happening here. The partnership is holding firm and continuing to work in that degree of holding each other up as you proceed to do so. For masculine and feminine energy right now that is coming into partnership, this, I gotta stress this right now, feminine, if you're navigating something right now, if you're trying to come into partnership right now with masculine, there's potentially some situations or circumstances that may like reach a little bit of an overwhelm today. Okay. This could even like relate to a situation or circumstance right now for masculine, like feeling a point or a level or degree of overwhelm at this time. We are seeing this specifically because, again, for masculine and feminine energy right now, the issue as it relates to trying to come into partnership or union has to do with all of this outside energy. Masculine is feeling the anxiety right now that feminine isn't being as upright or as forthright as it relates to the energy that's surrounding them at this time. Feminine is feeling like masculine isn't taking the action that they need around the circumstances and situations that masculine has articulated to the feminine at this time. This is, again, we're back into some of this like make or break moment right now with the energies trying to come into partnership because the union is at stake and it requires some point of calibration or clarification. Clarification or action. Something needs to be amended or something needs to be clarified. Then this is creating something for the masculine that's almost like a point of emotional overwhelm, which again is either going to be experienced on the part of the feminine as emotional outburst or emotional withdrawal. Masculine, you may be feeling like there's something about the circumstance or situation that's creating this sense of overwhelm within you. Now, for the energies that are in separation, feminine energy that's in separation, this is literally swiping. This is tarot swiping. I cannot stress to you that for the energies that are in separation right now, this is literally the closest thing I've ever seen to tarot swiping. This is a feminine energy that's staying focused right now, not communicating with someone that they want to communicate with, focusing on union, and instead going, no. So again, for feminine energy that is in separation right now, this is either the feminine energy that is staying now, they're like motivating themselves forward, like almost preparing themselves for disappointment to a certain extent as you do so. But you're like, I'm going to find it. I'm going to go looking for the commitment that I'm seeking. And I'm not going to communicate to this person, is what I'm seeing. For the other part of the feminine collective right now, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, this is trying to leave room for this person. This is potentially trying to leave room for this person, opening up situations and circumstances that you know don't have that partnership potential. But again, just making sure to articulate to everyone at play, whoever they are, whoever this is, if this is just one or multiple people, being like, listen, this is only this because I'm seeking that. For masculine energy in separation right now, what we're effectively seeing is this is that moment that, again, if you're in separation right now and you're in masculine energy, there's a lot of heavy energy today. I'm also going to say this very carefully. If you are a masculine energy that has issues with coping mechanisms, I want you to take a lot of care of yourself today because this could be a very triggering day for you. So I want you to make sure that you have that support system at play. For masculine energy right now, what we're effectively seeing is, again, there are some situations and circumstances, and this is a unification of both energies. We're just going to start talking about them as one again because, again, whether this was a masculine energy that moved away from a partnership possibility for the aspiration of autonomy but is now recognizing that it is not autonomy that they seek, but a very rarefied, specified version of a divine union. Or if this is a masculine energy that has moved away from a partnership possibility because your focus, your aim is now actually on divine union, but with a very specific heart's desire. This is a moment that you are feeling the full blockage right now as it relates to the partnership itself. Commitment is your focus right now. You are saying driven on this path. The problem is you feel completely internally blocked in terms of how to do it. For masculine energy right now, you may even be feeling like a bit of a point of frustration because we're even seeing right now that this could be masculine energy that is trying to move towards other masculine energies to get some point of advice, to get some point of advisement, and recognizing you're like, these are the wrong people to talk to. This is maybe even a masculine energy looking and being like, you guys are no help. You guys are no help here. You can't understand, because there may even be a point right now where the masculine energy realizes that either they can't communicate to them about this because of where they left it or what they said prior to this, or this is masculine energy that just recognizes and realizes that something about these circumstances and situations, the energy around them, cannot give them the guidance that they need because it's very specific. It's a very specific situation. For the masculine, this may be leading right now in separation to a point of emotional overwhelm because, again, it is the need and desire to want to move into commitment, but not necessarily feeling the capacity or the ability to at this time. You are puzzling out. You're trying to figure out how to do it. The whole experience is making you feel somewhat emotionally or spiritually overwhelmed at this time. Continuing to get clarification right now between our Page of Wands in its reversal in combination with our Hierophant. So, may I please have one card to clarify? Today, man. Oh boy, 10 of Wands. It's going to feel like a bit of a slog today, guys. Some days we fly. Some days we just got to push through the mud. Today's going to feel like one of those days that's a bit more of a pushing that boulder up the hill. It's going to feel like a little bit of a Herculean effort today is what we're really seeing. But again, with great effort comes great reward, okay? Put that back. What we're really seeing right now, and again, even for the partnered energies today, there's going to be something that feels a bit like a hurdle, like something that needs to be overcome, not something that is pleasant to do, but something that is necessary to do. You're doing that work. You're pushing something forward. It's going to feel like a game of inches today. You may even be feeling today right now that you don't necessarily see the progress that you make, but this is a reminder that sometimes when we go through certain situations and circumstances, sometimes any progress, an inch forward is not an inch back. I want everybody to remember that today, especially if you're in partnership. An inch forward is a metric of success because it is not an inch back. There's something here that is feeling like a bit of a challenge even in the partnership at this time. Again, this potentially is either related to energy outside of the partnership that needs some level or degree of assistance, that you need to kind of put some of this concerted effort towards. Or simultaneously, this could be feeling like energy outside the partnership that is feeling like it is causing some issues in the partnership that you're trying to push forward through right now. And it's hard. It's feeling like a slog. It's feeling like a work of degrees. But again, the masculine and the feminine that is partnered in this capacity is effectively taking this burden on together. And it's almost creating a space or place of experiencing the power and the benefit of being able to do this work together. There may even be something, I need to stress this right now. There may be even a feeling right now in partnership about one person feeling like they're trying to do something all on their own. This could be a moment of the energy around them, trying to articulate to them that they are not alone. Trying to articulate in some deep way to say to the partner energy, you are not alone in this. I am here to help you. And that again is also, again, something that feels difficult, but is reinforcing and reinvigorating on the partnership itself. While for masculine and feminine energy that is working towards partnership right now, again, this is that make or break point. This is that moment that is showing there needs to be something that is identified here that shows each other the level or degree of commitment that is going to be required to come into partnership, come into union. There's almost a mutual understanding at play for both energies right now. The partnered energies, the energies trying to come into partnership right now are mirroring each other. And the thing that they're mirroring each other, that they're trying to say to the other person is, yeah, it's hard. I'm asking you to do something that is hard. I know I'm asking you to do something that is hard because partnership requires us to do hard things for the sake of the partnership. For masculine and feminine energy right now trying to come into partnership, this is potentially feeling the weight, the capacity of what one is asking for to see if you can give that back. And I have to say, for masculine and feminine right now, this is a moment, if I'm going to be saying this all through the week, this is a moment that's kind of challenging you to practice what you preach. There could be a lot of energy happening right now. The term practice what you preach is probably going to be the watchword right now for the energy trying to come into partnership, because both energies are looking at the other one and saying, go, you do it. No, you do it. No, you do it. That's what we're seeing here. Masculine, feminine energy and separation. This is feminine energy committing to the act of finding commitment. This is the feminine energy. This is the feminine. We love seeing this right now, girls. We love seeing this because what this is effectively identifying for us, my friends, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, is this is a feminine energy dusting themselves off, taking that deep sigh, looking at the person that they were hoping they wouldn't have to do this over again because of that, being like, forget that. Clearly it's not going to happen. This is the feminine energy pushing forward. This is the feminine energy saying, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to go do this thing I don't want to do. Because what feminine energy wants right now is commitment with a certain individual. They can't find it. They can't get that there. So feminine's going, fine, I'll just go find it somewhere else. While for masculine energy that is in separation right now, this is that moment that you're kind of like, again, this is that point that's like, oh no, what have I done? Because again, for both energies, the articulating, the masculine energy that thought that they wanted autonomy, but now realize they don't, They just want a very specific thing. For the masculine energy that now is trying to move towards a partnership, but they're realizing, or you're recognizing just how damaged the thing that you now want to move towards is. This is that moment that, again, this is going to feel like a bit of that make or break right now, because again, masculine is trying to fight with themselves and say, am I going to do the hard work of trying to restore that connection? Or am I going to do the hard work of walking away from it? Masculine energy right now is caught because they're not sure which direction to go, towards it or away from it. Both directions feel incredibly difficult. Both directions feel incredibly fraught. This is feeling literally like being caught between a rock and a hard place, which is why, again, if you're in separation right now, masculine, I want you to be taking care of yourself today, because there's a lot of that emotional overwhelm that we're potentially seeing as you experience some of this in autonomy. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Hierophant in combination with our Page of Pentacles in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with, we love this. Woohoo! This is what we wanted to see. This is the opposite of that. So that's good. This is good. So for masculine and feminine energy that's working right now in partnership, this is nice, because what we're effectively seeing right now is, even though there are some hurdles right now, this is not creating a space or place. Look at this. This is not masculine and feminine energy in partnership running away from a challenge. Be this an energy that needs this level or degree of assistance right now, or be this situations outside of the partnership that are challenging to the partnership at this moment. This is energy that is using the combined effort of the partnership to say, we are going to face something head on, regardless of what the outside energy is, regardless of where they are. Now, again, if this is masculine and this is partnership energy, if this is masculine and feminine energy coming to the aid of someone, this is them coming to the aid very quickly, saying almost like, what do you need? How can we help you? What can we do to support you, as it were? For masculine and feminine energy right now, that is feeling some level or degree of resistance around the partnership itself. This is masculine and feminine energy effectively doubling down on that partnership, being like, we're not going to let these situations and circumstances cause that point of interference. We're going to keep holding on to the partnership itself and continue to progress forward. And sometimes we're going to have like huge leaps in that. Today is going to feel like a little weird here, because again, this is giving me actually a bit of a glacier effect here. It's going to feel like something that like feels like a lot, but also like a lot of hard work. Right? Like a lot of progress in an area that's also very difficult is what we're seeing. While for masculine and feminine energy that's trying to come into partnership at this moment, what we're effectively identifying at this time is, again, this is that make or break moment that we're seeing for the energies trying to come into partnership again. We're back at that like stress point again, because for both energies, they're looking at the other one and saying, can you show me that you can do this? I need to see that you can do that. Maybe a lot of communication today in these realms, but the communication is literally going to feel like, are you doing it? Have you done it? Can you open up about this? It may be feeling like a little bit of spinning of the wheel conversations, because while there may be a lot of communication, there might not feel like there's a lot of substance in it, because each energy is waiting for something very specific from the other one. And there's just a lot of flurry of conversation in the midst of trying to get what you actually want from the communication. I'm going to say right now, again, if you're in this type of vibration and you're trying to come into partnership, make sure you're acting from intentionality. Make sure you're not triggered today. Make sure you don't say something that you're going to want to take back. This type of energy has that potential and possibility there. While for masculine and feminine energy that's in separation, feminine energy right now, this is feminine energy opening themselves up to new opportunities, new possibilities. This is the feminine energy, again, focusing on what, again, there's a desire here. There's a frustration of not getting what they want from the masculine that they would ideally aspire to get it from. It's not stopping the feminine energy. This is not a feminine energy that's like, sewing their morning gown. This is a feminine energy that's like, back to the drawing board. Feminine took that week. We saw that feminine took that week of mourning, right? We saw those few days. This is feminine energy going, I got to get myself together. I got to dust myself off. I got to get back in. I got to throw myself back into the fray. Feminine's focusing on the commitment at this time. And feminine energy, some of that feminine energy is either moving away from this energy of the masculine that has shown some level or degree of inability of providing that level of commitment. While for the other part of the feminine energy, this is feminine energy basically being like, you can come, you can be here, but you're going to have to watch this. You're going to have to take a seat at the table and recognize that this is where you are in my life. This is even feminine energy potentially articulating to the masculine that they're allowing back in this degree. Like, I hope you understand. It's not just going to be you and me. It's not just going to be us right now. It's going to be me doing whatever the heck I want because you're making it very clear where you stand. While for masculine right now that is in separation, what we're effectively seeing right now is the fact that we are identifying and recognizing that for masculine energy and separation, these are the unifications of the 2 points. The masculine energy that thought that they wanted solidarity, they wanted autonomy, now realizes they don't. They really want partnership. It's just a very specific type of partnership. You now realize that you may have left this behind somewhere. You're trying to go collect it, but you're also recognizing right now that you don't have a single clue how to do that. You don't even know if it can be fixed or corrected at this time. For the other part of the masculine collective right now, in separation, this is potentially you trying to move towards your heart's desire at this time. But again, having that feeling of being uncertain if this is something that you can fix, being uncertain if this is something that you can put forward with at this time. Again, for half of the masculine collective right now, this is that moment that you are doing as it relates to communicating. This is potentially you moving towards that energy to try to identify, to try to articulate, to try to see if this is something that is possible. While for the other part of the masculine collective right now, this is that point that may feel overwhelming because you're feeling like there isn't that hope. You're not giving yourself that hope, and instead you're trying to move away from it. So, and again, for the masculine energy and separation right now, making sure that you maintain that level or degree of care for the self today, because in both situations we're seeing that there's a lot of energy here that feels rather overwhelming. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Page of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Page of Cups in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Whoop! Popping out. Oh, my goodness gracious. 6 of Pentacles in its reversal. So, what are the masculine and the feminine energies dealing with right now in partnership? Issues around reciprocity, issues around even give and take. Now, again, for masculine and feminine energy right now, this is potentially even more of that stress that's potentially happening around the partnership, because it has to potentially do with the fact that some of these external variables right now that you need to deal with are kind of requiring you to put effort into spaces and places that aren't allowing you to be able to put them in the partnership itself. Again, for half of the collective right now in partnership or union, this is that moment that, again, there's some situations, there's some outside situations or outside circumstances, energy that needs your support in some capacity or degree. And this is a moment that you may be feeling a little put out because there's a limitation of assistance that you can effectively provide these energies, specifically because you have to kind of also focus on what you're trying to create for the partnership at this time. There could be a moment right now where, again, this is more of that energy of trying to say, like, there's only so much of you to go around. And now we're almost seeing a point that there may be a fracture between like your own obligations in partnership versus some of these outside situations and scenarios. For the other part of the partnered energy right now, this is a moment of just feeling like there are some outside situations and circumstances that are negatively impacting or not giving back the way that you're putting in. They're creating challenging spaces right now as it relates to your ability to stay in partnership at this time. But again, what are we seeing as the solution to the energy that's experiencing this right now if you're in partnership? The solution, the mutual solution, is effectively not to feed something that's not giving back in kind. This is one of those moments that's kind of like seeing things, taking people as they are. Basically almost saying to energy around the partnership right now, if they're feeling like they're causing any point of friction towards the partnership, hey, you can take it or you can leave it. It's not our obligation. It's not your obligation. The partnerships are basically saying it's not their obligation to force energy to like move towards them. It's just the fact that they have to accept things the way they need to accept them. For masculine and feminine energy that's trying to move towards partnership, at this time, this is more of that space. This energy right now is reflecting each other. I gotta stress this. If you're trying to come into partnership right now, masculine and feminine, you guys, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, this is like feeling like a standoff. This is starting to give the energy of a standoff. Both energies looking at the other one saying, show me you can do this. No, you show me you can do this. No, you, it's almost like, and I want to stress, if we're moving in this vibration right now, partnerships are not hostage situations. Make sure that you're not moving into a space or place of ultimatums today, okay? Make sure you're not moving into a space or place of ultimatums, because the problem is some of this energy right now is potentially feeling less like a collaborative effort, less like a unified effort, and more like ultimatums that are potentially being thrown at each other. And neither energy likes that. Neither energy finds it productive. Neither energy finds it fun. It just feels like it is it's like creating difficulty. It's not creating room for the energy to feel eager. It's almost like coming through, energy here is coming through like, well, I would have done it for you, but the way you're asking, the way you're approaching this, the angle that you're coming in on this does not create the inclination for that energy to feel disposed to do it. So just keep that in mind right now. If you're trying to come into partnership, make sure that you're doing things with a level or degree of empathy. Give what you would desire to get back in kind. I cannot say this enough right now because this is very tricky energy that we're seeing here. Masculine and feminine energy that is in separation. This is the feminine energy. Again, feminine energy, what was the lesson that the feminine energy took from the Venus in retrograde cycle? Feminine energy is committed not to overcommitting. I'm going to say it again. Feminine energy is committed to not overcommitting to circumstances and situations do not come back in kind. So the difference right now in the journey that feminine's doing right now is feminine is looking at these new options. They're looking at these new situations around them. But feminine is staying very firm and focused on trying to navigate these spaces without overcommitting to them. Potentially even articulating. Again, if this is energy that in some way, shape, or form that has articulated to the feminine, the limitation, this is either feminine opening themselves up to new possibilities, but firmly making sure and reminding themselves not to overgive to energy that isn't giving back in kind. Or this is feminine energy that is, again, if they're opening things up, if they're leaving some room for old energy to come in, that has given them some indication that the partnership, that long-term commitment, that divine union is not something possible or available. This is feminine energy basically being like, this is where you stand. This is the box that I'm putting you in. This is what I'm willing to give you, and this is what I'm willing not to give you. You can only come in if you're okay with these terms. And the terms that feminine's giving that energy is, I'm pulling back my energy from you. What I used to give you is not what you will be getting. Masculine right now, if you're in separation, this is that moment that, again, there's a feeling right now of deep indisposal right now for the masculine energy right now. Those two energies have unified. We are seeing that masculine energy right now is trying to move towards a very specific aspect of divine union. This is either masculine that has now identified exactly what that divine union is, recognizing that it's not autonomy, it's just a very specific thing that they're seeking. The other part of the masculine collective right now, this is effectively your heart's desire, but we're also seeing that for some of that energy that now knows what they're seeking, it is also about moving towards your heart's desire at this point. You're feeling completely put out. You're feeling like there's something here that you don't know how to approach. You don't know how to emotionally communicate to. You're feeling at a loss because you haven't done things like this before, have you? This is new. You haven't done things from this point of being open and honest and communicative. There's something here that feels like a bit of a change, masculine energy, if you're at this point of autonomy. Why? Because you're not moving from your passion center. You're not letting your passion guide you right now. You're trying to move forward with stability and emotionality, and it's creating a block because there's almost an anxiety in terms of how it will be received. This is creating that blockage point because the anxiety of whether it will be returned is creating that hurdle, because this is a level or degree of vulnerability that you're just starting to learn how to navigate. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Page of Cups and our King of Cups. Again, hug your masculines today, everybody. May I please have one card to clarify? That's not one, it's two. We're going to take both of them. It's going to be a tricky day for feminine too, because we're seeing here, again, for the energy right now that is in partnership, even for the energy right now that's in partnership, there's something here that's very difficult. There's something here that's very hard to navigate. There's something here about, again, moving from a space or place of honesty, of openness, is the vulnerability point right now for the energy that's in partnership. There's something about this level or degree of honesty and openness that you're reaching right now in partnership that is creating a challenging space right now. And again, there may even be some anxieties that you're experiencing at this point as it relates to your own truth in the partnership at this time, that you're worried about outside energy. Again, this is either outside energy that is coming, and I'm going to say there's two different modalities that we're effectively seeing here in partnership. This is either outside energy coming towards masculine and feminine in partnership right now with some level or degree of truth that is effectively rocking the masculine and feminine at this time. This point of observation, this point of understanding, that's creating a bit of this jarring point for both the masculine and the feminine right now in partnership. Or this is something about the masculine and feminine's own partnership, their own truth, that again is feeling like the external situations outside, it's requiring a level of degree of vulnerability even in the partnership right now. So even in partnership right now, we're seeing that there's a lot of triggers that are effectively being hit. But what we appreciate about this is the fact that something about the outside energy surrounding the partnership is helping build a deeper sense of clarity right now to the unified energies to help them conduct that path of clearness and transparency going forward. This is creating a space or place of honesty, of clarity, of truth coming into the forefront. It's just a lot today. It's a lot to effectively take in, is what we're effectively seeing. Now, for masculine and feminine energy that is trying to move into partnership at this time, this is a bit of this challenging space that we're effectively identifying. Why are we experiencing this? Because again, masculine and feminine are mirroring each other right now if they're trying to come into partnership, if they're trying to come into union. The masculine and the feminine are both feeling vulnerable, and they're both looking at the other person, and they actually desire the same thing. They want clarity to ensure that the person that they're moving towards is serious about the commitment. It's requiring something that, again, feels very vulnerable for both energies, and they're looking for the other one to provide it to them, which is why, again, being able to navigate this from a space of deep empathy and care, as opposed to making it feel like there are ultimatums or a point of challenge that's happening at this time, is going to feel very difficult. It's going to feel very challenging depending on how you embrace the experience. While for masculine and feminine energy that is in separation, for feminine energy at this time, again, this is feminine energy that, it's feeling like a lot of rocky territory right now, because this is not necessarily something that is feeling like an empowering moment for the feminine. This isn't feminine moving into something right now being like, oh yes, I can't wait to go find like these new opportunities or experiences. This is a feminine that feels very vulnerable about this. It's like it's almost like feeling more like they're resigning themselves to the act of having to move forward in this capacity, because what this really is this is feminine energy just allowing themselves to embrace the reality of some circumstances or situations. And that has to do with, again, the fact that for the feminine energy that feels like to a certain level or degree that they need to move away from an opportunity that they offered potential masculine for partnership that the masculine turned away from, regardless of whether they're choosing to like completely walk away from that energy and move forward looking for new energy, or whether they're in a space or place where they're leaving some room for that energy, but being very specific and clear as to what those limitations and boundaries are. This is a moment for feminine where they're feeling the lack of emotional care from the masculine. This is feeling like the feminine feeling that full weight of a lack of emotional care, because the lack of desire for union or partnership was the observation to the feminine energy to a certain extent, that the masculine energy did not care. And that's what the feminine's trying to navigate even as they move forward in this capacity or degree, holding on their desire for commitment at all costs. For masculine right now that's in separation, again, there's a lot of overwhelm that's potentially coming into play right now. If you are masculine in separation, I want you to have a lot of work today on self-care, especially if you are in the space or place of having unhealthy coping mechanisms. Because, again, this could even be a moment, and this is what may be creating a bit of challenging space here, where, again, you are either looking at a feminine energy and you are feeling this desire and degree to want to open to them. You want to express yourself. You're even potentially recognizing that this is an energy that you recognize that in any way, shape, or form would not reject you coming forward in this capacity. It's more the anxiety of what truth they'll reveal from what you articulate to them. It's more of the anxiety of fearing what you will effectively find were you to approach that energy. There may even be a moment right now of kind of recognizing this and seeing this, and it's almost like the overwhelm is almost feeling not from the fact that you feel like this energy would like block you, were you to openly, emotionally open up in this degree. It's more about the fact that they may reveal to you something about a sad truth. You're going to have to get to the bottom of it, and it's the anxiety of what that truth is right now that is effectively almost overweighing you to a certain extent. Either, again, for some of the masculine, taking that risk today, opening up to the feminine in this degree to kind of get a point of closure, almost like saying to yourself, you'd rather know than not know. While for the other part of the masculine collective right now, coming into this space is still too emotionally overwhelming. There's still too much pain here. You may even be getting some advice from energy around you right now, but again, feeling like to a certain extent, they don't understand. Because there may even be something about the way you're now articulating things that you recognize is also going to shed light on something in a way that like you haven't necessarily shed light on things before to some of the energy around you right now. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 10 of Wands in combination with our 8 of Wands. May I please have one card to clarify? 2 cards coming out to clarify today. Whew. Everybody be kind to each other today. Abandonment wounds are everywhere today. There's a lot of triggering situations right now. The important thing is not, I'm going to stress this for everybody before I split this up, making sure that when you're facing the abandonment wound, you don't react from a space or place of being triggered. You instead allow that intentionality to shine. There's almost something here I need to stress right now. For some of the energy right now, and this is kind of beautiful, there is something really important here about a moment where we're seeing that all of the energies are actually observing right now. They're about to they're looking at something, they're recognizing that they're about to allow themselves to be vulnerable in a very triggering situation. This is almost the observation, the acknowledgement, and saying, I need to leave myself vulnerable and open to something I know is deeply triggering to me on a very fundamental level right now. But again, it's almost that ability and degree not to be resistant to it is the growth. It is the process. It is that perfecting point. For masculine and feminine energy right now in partnership, this is more of that slog that we're seeing. This is more about that ability right now of, again, kind of utilizing the partnership potentiality to try to put as much, this is like giving us for the partnered energies right now, this is showing the value and degree of importance of a good divine union. Why? Because the divine union are seeing the abandonment wound. They're seeing the wall, right? They're seeing the fear. And what are the masculine and feminine energy doing in partnership? Are they fighting against it? Are they combating it? No. They are taking their unified effort and they are putting themselves to the task, even if it requires the hard work necessary. It's almost like it's giving me again, it's like it's moving towards the fear instead of away from the fear, with the support of the partnership helping you kind of get that momentum as you do so, right? And that is the value of this. That is the value. It's like the collective effort of the partnership is what is making something that would be very scary a lot easier, because it's not being done in solitude. While for masculine and feminine energy right now that is moving into or trying to move into partnership right now, this is more of that make or break point. This is literally what we're seeing here. Again, this is the split. This is the split about whether this is going to be the moment that brings these energies together or sends them running off in 2 different directions, literally. Because again, there's something here that's showing that for both energies right now, there's perfect mirroring happen. Triggers are being hit. The abandonment wound is being faced. Masculine is feeling it. Feminine is feeling it. There's a fear and capacity that someone is not opening up. Someone is not choosing the other person. Someone is being called to task. The energy is like at a point right now where you need to kind of embrace where you find each other with intentionality and purpose right now, or You take this as like a point of like reactivity, momentum, ultimatums. And this is that moment that is either going to show this point of like coming in to aid and support each other as you're feeling this fear, as you're feeling this crisis. Is this something that is going to drive you closer together? Or is it going to have you moving in the different direction because it's too hard? There's too much work. It's too much effort. It's too great a burden to bear. Is this walking you away from the divine union possibility? Or are you willing and ready to like take that energy on? Are you willing to do what it's necessary and what it takes? That's what we're effectively seeing right now for the energies that are trying to come into partnership. So again, I'm going to say it. Moving with intentionality today, moving with a lot of intentionality today is effectively going to be key right now. If you're trying to come into partnership, make sure you're not triggered. And especially because the masculine is very set to be triggered today. I need to stress this. While for masculine and feminine energy in separation at this time, it's going to feel different, because what we're really seeing here right now is at this moment, this is feminine energy. This is feminine energy that's literally doing it. Literally facing the fear. They're facing the abandonment wound. What is feminine doing? Is feminine running to the thing that created the abandonment wound? No. Feminine's just accepting it. Feminine's not fighting off that feeling. Feminine's not letting it create a reactive space where they're running back towards someone, knowing that they're not going to get what they desire. If they're bringing them back in, we even see here, feminine's like, I'm being very level-headed about this. I want you to know. Like, you have to understand this. What we're really seeing here is this is a feminine energy that's willing to confront their own abandonment wound. Feminine energy is basically going full tilt into it and saying, like, I'm not going to let my fear and this abandonment wound hold me in place. I'm going to utilize this to push forward, even if it's difficult right now. So this is the feminine energy coming into a space or place of triumph, though it may be feeling a bit overwhelming right now as you do so, feminine, because it's not like you're moving into this from a state of happiness. You're doing it with like a state of acceptance, anxiety, frustration, and surrender to the circumstances. While for masculine energy that is in separation right now, this is more of that abandonment wound coming into play, and it's going to feel a lot more triggering today. We're seeing for the masculine. You may even be seeing this masculine energy in some of the other masculine energy around you at this time. Because what we're really identifying at this point is the fact that for the masculine energy right now that is in separation, there is a moment here that is feeling like a stop-start. You are looking at some circumstance or situation right now that you are asking yourself right now. It feels like an impossible situation because either, again, you are making the choice to try to move back towards a connection that you recognize that you know is going to need a lot of healing, potentially because that energy feels like you abandoned them. And you're recognizing that you're going to have to like be very committed to the work of going back towards that energy. And you're going to have to be very vulnerable and open to what you receive as you do so. Or this is a masculine energy that is making the difficult choice of walking away from something that they desire with a feeling that it is too hard, that what has occurred is not something that they can fix, that what has occurred has become too much of a challenging space, that it effectively would be too emotionally overwhelming for them to try to repair it. And for both energies right now, this is creating a sense of deep emotional overwhelm because it's almost creating a point of confusion. It's almost creating it's almost like the abandonment wound for the masculine isn't necessarily due to the abandonment. It has more to do with the fact that you don't know where to go. It's like that feeling that the abandonment wound here for the masculine feels more like feeling lost as opposed to feeling abandoned right now. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Eight of Wands in combination with our Six of Pentacles in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Eight of Pentacles in its reversal. So this is coming through right now, some feelings of frustration. Again, even in the partnerships right now, this is some challenging circumstances that need to be addressed. Because this is, again, what are we seeing that's happening here? Even in partnership right now, and this is why we appreciate the partnered energies, this is a moment that we see that masculine and feminine energy in partnership, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what you feel most aligned to, is identifying spaces and places that don't feel like they're being reciprocal. They're identifying spaces and places that require some work. And what are they doing? They're throwing all of their energy and effort into those spaces and places together. This is that unified energy again. But we appreciate this because, again, it's helping to identify the difference between something that feels like it's an imbalance that needs to be corrected versus something that feels like it just can't work, period. This is helping to articulate the difference between these points. Is this a give and take that needs to be balanced? It can come into a point of balance, or is this something that's just showing an ability or degree of not being able to work? Well, for masculine and feminine energy right now, that is working to get into partnership, that is working towards partnership at this time. This is also a moment that is effectively showing that make or break moment. This is a moment for the partnered energies. This is actually the making or the breaking of whether these will be able to come into partnership or union, because this is looking at something right now and saying, is this a situation that we need to correct an imbalance on? We need to identify a way to have an even give and take. Or is this an impossibility? Is it going to be impossible to fix this? Is this a fixable problem, or is this not a fixable problem? Well, for energies that are in separation at this time, for the feminine energy right now that is in separation, this is effectively, again, this is feeling some of this is just that profound frustration. This is that profound frustration that we're seeing, because what we're seeing here, this is feminine energy that is effectively moving themselves forward right now with the sense and the purpose of their conviction. The conviction is on partnership. It's on commitment. It's on union. The feminine energy is feeling the frustration today because even while feminine energy is pushing themselves forward, driving themselves forward with tenacity on this, they're doing it from the purpose of their conviction, because truly they don't want to do it. They don't feel like doing it. They don't feel like participating in this ability of trying to find this give and take, this back and forth, and trying to find someone who is effectively going to be a partner to them, because they're more oriented on the one that they desire to be in that space or place that wasn't effectively working. But feminine is effectively saying, like, I don't care. Even if I'm feeling like this, I'm not going to stop myself. I'm going to push through it even if I'm feeling like this, because this is how feminine's really feeling. But still she persisted. She's still persisting forward. She's like, no, I'm not going to let this stop me. I'm not going to let my own lack of motivation on this stop my own determination. That's it. I'm not going to let my own motivation on this stop my own determination. While for masculine energy right now, this is you caught in that flux moment. This is you literally in separation, trying to move towards something right now. Even desiring for some of the masculine energy today, this is you putting that communication, that effort, that energy in right now. Because what you're really trying to identify and articulate, and for some you're not, for some you're still holding back. Because what you're really trying to articulate and identify is, again, you're trying to articulate and identify, is this something that you can now correct? You get it now. You see what the imbalance is. Is this something that's still available for you to correct? Or is this something that you need to abandon? Is this something that you need to move away from? This is that moment that you're trying to navigate which direction to go into. Do I try to correct this imbalance now that I see what I need to do? Or do I just give it up and abandon it entirely? Is this a movement towards it or away from it? Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Six of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Moon card, in combination with our Queen of Swords in its reversal. So again, even for the feminine energy today, there's a lot of vulnerability coming here. For all energy, regardless of where you are. Masculine, a much heavier day as it relates to your own emotional, vulnerability. For feminine, this is just experiencing some situations or circumstances that make you feel very vulnerable. They make you feel very exposed. There's almost like truth about the feminine here that feels like, they're coming into their truth, but that coming into their truth is not something that's easy for the feminine. You know what I mean? It's something that does feel like a bit of a triggering space, because there's an anxiety for the feminine about how it will be received, whether it'll be reciprocated. For feminine right now that is in partnership, This is potentially, again, relying on the support of the partnership to allow you to inhabit this modality. There's almost something here about the space and place of the partnership, allowing the deeper truths of the feminine to be there. Feminine's almost allowing this like space or place right now, and potentially is working right now with masculine to identify their own anxieties, their own fears, their own work in this capacity. Now, again, this is either masculine and feminine energy navigating this space together, or this is feminine going through this experience throughout, like within themselves. But let me get the next card before I start to articulate on this. Next card coming through. We've got 2 cards coming out. We like this. We like this a lot. We've got here our 7 of Pentacles in combination with our 4 of Cups. Now, what are we seeing right now for the energies that are in partnership? Again, this is really expressing, we've seen here that something about these masculine energy right now, having to go into a state of emotional overwhelm. Feminine energy is not necessarily going into a space of emotional overwhelm at this point, but there is something here about the feminine energy having a feeling that they need to be very vulnerable at this time. This may even be having to be very vulnerable to masculine, because this could even be identifying right now that even in partnership at this moment, something that masculine energy is communicating. This is like the shared truth that we're potentially even seeing right now in partnership that is creating some challenges, because we see here that masculine is being very open and vulnerable. The beauty here is that feminine in partnership is also being vulnerable. This is like a space or place where deeper truths are rolling up to the surface today. So a lot of tender areas right now, even in partnership. Reciprocity is going to be key. Having that back and forth, having that positive give and take right now is really going to be the focal point right now in partnership, because some of the anxieties and fears right now are, again, either how that reciprocal openness is going to be received in the partnership right now, or how that openness is going to be received around situations and circumstances outside of the partnership effectively. We are also seeing here that this is a moment, but again, the benefit and the power right now of the partnership energy is, again, new choices are leading to new possibilities, and there's a feeling right now of patience as you do so. This is almost situations and circumstances that are requiring some time, some effort, some energy. Masculine and feminine are feeling very vulnerable in that space or place, but they're committing their efforts there nonetheless. That's the power of the partnership. Energy right now that is working towards coming into partnership. This is the challenging space, because again, we are seeing that this is a point right now that the energies are mirroring each other. You're both feeling open. You're both feeling raw. You're both feeling vulnerable. Masculine's feeling very emotional triggered. Feminine's feeling very vulnerable. They're both asking something of the other that is very difficult, but they're also trying to seek and receive truth in the process. Everything right now depends on whether that level or degree of reciprocity is effectively coming into play, because that is the heart of the matter. This is about feeling that equal give and take. And this is the moment that there's a point that is being observed right now to see if, again, there's different choices that are going to be made right now that are going to yield different results, thereby showing the efficacy of the possibility of the growth of a long-term divine union partnership. While for masculine and feminine energy right now that are in separation, this is that moment again. For feminine, this is a point right now that feels deeply, deeply triggering. There's potentially a situation or circumstance right now for the feminine that, again, feminine energy is looking at situations and circumstances right now, and they're just accepting the fact. What did feminine tell themselves? Feminine told themselves, feminine affirmed themselves that they were not going to put themselves in situations and circumstances that did not give back what they gave to them. Feminine energy is either solving this right now by moving away from something that is not showing the same degree of reciprocity as it relates to union, or limiting what they give someone or something, specifically because they're still focusing on finding that divine union for themselves at this time. And this is feminine energy resigning themselves to the fact that doing this in this potential, doing this in this way is the different choice. This is feminine energy choosing and holding firm to their desire beyond all things and possibilities, and being able to put the patience and effort in to be able to seek it. While for masculine right now that is in separation, this is going to feel a lot more triggering right now, because what we're effectively seeing is, again, For the masculine energy and separation at this moment, this could be a moment that, again, you potentially want to give forward towards feminine energy. You may even be identifying right now, masculine energy, that whoever this energy that you're trying to give forth towards right now would be receptive, would be open, especially if you came towards them from a space of emotional openness and vulnerability. The difficulty or the hurdle is the amount of time that it's taken you to do so. The time is actually not necessarily the benefit here. It's more about the fact that things may have happened in the intervening time between what you are offering someone versus what they are now receiving. And now you are worried that something that someone may have asked you for, that you're now willing to explore or move into, is potentially no longer something that is available, or no longer something someone wants. And it's that anxiety that's rising to the surface here for the masculine that is effectively leading you again into one or two different modalities. This is either a moment that you're going towards that energy. You'd rather know, you'd rather find out, you'd rather get to the heart of this, to be able to at least heal something enough that maybe something can grow in the space and place between. Or this is a moment that you're still feeling blocked, you're still feeling limited, this is still feeling like a bridge too far, you're still feeling too emotionally overwhelmed, it's too emotionally triggering right now to be able to do this, because you're just coming to terms with this and it's still just feeling like too much of a challenging space. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 7 of Wands, our 5 of Pentacles, and our 8 of Pentacles. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with the Star in its reversal. So, again, this is going to feel a little different depending on where you fall in this collective, especially if you're in the feminine energy. So, masculine and feminine energy that is in partnership, in union at this time. This is more, and again, I think that one of the things that's very interesting about this right now is there's something coming into play right now for the masculine energy that effectively feels like you need to protect the feminine. This may be some of these triggering circumstances or situations that we see are effectively rising up at this time that may require some point, again, from some of the masculine energy, making sure that you don't necessarily react right now from a trigger, but instead with intentionality is very key, because, again, one of the things is potentially happening right now in the partnerships is the masculine potentially either seeing circumstances or situations where you feel like the feminine energy is in a point of difficulty. They're in a point of disadvantage. Again, this is a feminine energy that something has them feeling very exposed. And this is the masculine almost recognizing and seeing the feminine energy at that level or degree of exposure or vulnerability, and effectively doing what they can to try to amend it. We appreciate this for the energies that are in partnership at this moment, because this is effectively showing that this is an energy that, again, the masculine energy, even in these moments of difficulty that they themselves are experiencing, their thoughts and their attention are very much focused towards the feminine at this time. Feminine, if you're in partnership with masculine, you could be observing this. You could be observing that, like, there is this moment right now where you're feeling potentially, underseen, exposed, vulnerable. There's something here that's triggering you to a very deep degree. There's some anxiety about, in fact, again, this is feminine energy, like facing their own fears at this time. And feminine energy, though, in a way, this is making it easier to do so because you're not having to do it alone. You've got masculine energy basically by your own side right now as you proceed to do this at this time. Masculine, this is more about the fact that, again, it's not just the fact that you're feeling very triggered around the circumstances and situations that you're navigating with feminine at this time, but a lot of your focus is trying to protect the feminine energy in the process. While for masculine and feminine energy that are trying to move into partnership at this moment, this is, again, more of the triggering energy that we're seeing. Why are we seeing this triggering energy? Because masculine is effectively feeling triggered because feminine isn't being as vulnerable and open to them. Feminine is not being as vulnerable and open to masculine right now because masculine isn't taking the action that feminine needs to guarantee that they are effectively their priority, their focus. The feminine energy here can only feel like they are vulnerable and open if they feel like they are the priority and the focus here. So this is a moment that is creating a bit of a struggle, because for the feminine, again, masculine is asking, while feminine is asking masculine to take action that's making them feel very blocked, very emotionally limited. Masculine is asking feminine to do something that's making them feel extremely vulnerable at a point where they're not feeling ready to be vulnerable. So it's becoming very triggering. And again, this is that moment that feminine may be asking the masculine and saying, like, look, I will be open to you in this degree. I will come towards you in this fashion, but I need to see evidence. I need to see that this is the case. I need to see that you can actually tangibly make these changes so that I feel comfortable enough to open up to that same degree and facility. While for masculine and feminine energy, and for masculine, you may be feeling this. You may be feeling this anxiety of this withdrawal. You may be feeling the anxiety that this feminine energy is actually pulling away from you right now. And that's also furthering some of this triggered feeling today. So working with a sense of intentionality and purpose right now and focusing on the long-term path is going to be really, really important right now. While for masculine and feminine energy and separation, this is just feminine energy pushing through at a moment that they really don't feel like doing it. It's not just the fact that feminine energy doesn't feel like doing this work that they're pushing themselves to do. They're like doing it begrudgingly right now. It's also the fact that feminine doesn't feel like they're in a modality where they want to be vulnerable to masculine. Feminine energy is leaving some of this experience. I'll point out, feminine energy is leaving some of this experience potentially. We even saw that for some of the feminine energy, there was a feeling of having been deceived. There was a feeling of feeling like there was a false bill of goods that was being sold to them as it relates to what they thought that they were building towards with the masculine energy versus what that masculine energy did when the possibility of partnership or more commitment came into the fold. So this is a feminine energy that's feeling the joint frustration of, again, not necessarily even wanting to move forward in this capacity, but forcing themselves to, but also feeling a deep lack of ability to open up in this degree or capacity, because there's a feeling of trepidation that they're carrying with them from the past experience is still heavily at play here. So again, even as feminine's doing this work, again, the level or degree of self-care today for feminine, I want you to spend some time with yourself today. Make sure you're coming into this, make sure you're grounding yourself, finding that point of vulnerability, at least within yourself, so that you can move forward from that space or place of deeper authenticity. While for masculine energy right now that is in separation, what we're effectively seeing at this time is this is a moment that we're effectively seeing that you yourself are also feeling the same triggered energy. That there's something here masculine that you want to move towards right now. Your focus is clear. The problem is whether that energy is receptive to you moving towards it. It's triggering you deeply because either you're feeling that this energy is already at a point of separation from you, and it's very hard because you want to make it easier to come towards them, but you're not sure how. Or there's even an anxiety point in recognizing the fear of kind of opening up to this energy. The way that they may have opened up to you in the past and not getting that same level or degree of openness back this time. That this energy effectively has a reason to be closed off, to be distant. You're almost having to face the experience, even as you're thinking about it, to kind of see how this may have felt from the perspective of the feminine when it occurred. So even now, there's a bit of a growth process that's happening for the masculine energy and separation that's going through this at this time. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Between our it was these two. The 8 of Pentacles in its reversal, in combination with our 4 of Cups, in combination with our 7 of Pentacles. We like seeing these cards in combination because this is problems that we're finding answers. The problems, there are answers to the problems. It's just going to take time, different choices, and different choices. One way or another, there's going to be a solution to this problem. It's just going to take different choices and time for all energies. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with the Queen of Cups. All right, now we've got the feminine energy reflecting the masculine energy. See how we had all that upside down masculine energy? Here we go. Now the feminine is coming is aligning with the masculine. Feminine energy right now. Feminine energy right now, working through this process or this cycle with the masculine. Again, having to effectively see. There's something about the partnership right now where the energies are reflecting themselves to such a capacity. There's some kind of observation right now on some point of correction that needs to be taken. Some choices, different choices that are leading to different results. Something that is only going to come into a point of easement over time. And this is the moment or feeling that it does feel somewhat emotionally overwhelming right now for the feminine that is experiencing this. This is having that point of recognition or feeling that point of emotional overwhelm at this time, even in the partnership. There may even need to be right now, masculine, you, again, just as the feminine's kind of having, I'm seeing here, it's like, while the feminine needs to support the masculine at the beginning of the day, there may be something about the masculine needing to like return it all back around and support the feminine by the end of the day. Because what we're effectively seeing here is a moment that the feminine is now also going into a space of emotional overwhelm, mirroring the masculine energy, because you guys are effectively in the same vibration over this. You guys are sharing the modality, as it were. For feminine right now, this is a moment of effectively trying to identify like what isn't working, taking different choices right now, and utilizing time in your favor as you commit your path going forward. For masculine, you may be seeing this right now with the feminine, and there may be a point right now of having to recognize something that needs some point of correction that is also taking some time as you work to realign. But again, different choices leading to different results, and also some things that need to be healed, and that only time is going to be the determining factor right now. While for masculine and feminine energy that are moving into partnership at play right now, this is both energies further mirroring each other. There's a moment right now that the anxiety about something not working is coming to the fold. Both energies are looking to see if someone will make a different choice that'll allow for that possibility of long-term partnership. Feminine is feeling just as emotionally overwhelmed as masculine right now. So again, feminine energy, if you also have issues as it relates to coping mechanisms, I also want you to take care of yourself today as well if this were to come up. While for masculine and feminine energy that are in separation right now, this is that feeling that we're seeing for the feminine, that like feminine does not want to do this work, but she's doing it anyway. She's doing it despite her own desire not to, because feminine energy recognizes that the only way to find what she's looking for right now is to continue to curate, to continue to seek, to continue to try to find it. And this is a moment that feels like kind of like, again, feminine energy is either going to feel very disassociated from their own emotions right now, or you're going to feel very emotionally overwhelmed because like you're pushing yourself forward. You're motivating yourself without that determination or desire to do so, right? The motive, the determination of what you desire is the only thing motivating you. While for masculine energy and separation right now, this is again also that moment that can feel extremely emotionally overwhelming because you're looking towards a feminine energy and you're not sure where their emotions lie. You don't know where their emotions lie. You're almost seeing this and saying it can go either way. This is either a feminine energy that like still has that degree or capacity of care to bring towards you right now, or this is a feminine energy that's effectively closed off their emotions. You're looking right now to try to ascertain if taking a new approach right now is going to be able to allow for some point of optimism here, but you're also recognizing that again, it's going to require you to have to articulate about the time that has intervened. You're going to have a lot of explaining. You're also going to have to like almost give them the full breadth of where you are now, what's changed, how you feel. Like you're almost like seeing the full spread of what you have to bring to this energy. And again, this is either something that is committing you in this direction, that you're doing this, you're ready to do this work to bring this energy back into connection with you, or this is a moment that you're still waiting to do this. It's still too overwhelming. It's still too much effort and energy. It's still too much of a hurdle. And so instead, again, this is feeling like more of that painful, like staying in separation, but also now it's like a painful separation because you know what you're trying to move towards or focus on. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Final cards for today's spread between our Star in its reversal and our Queen of Cups in its reversal. So, heavy energy today. Heavy energy. You know, what we're effectively recognizing and experiencing at this moment is, again, for masculine and feminine energy, it is going to feel very different. But for feminine right now, what we're seeing starts out as a difficult day for the masculine, we're seeing it's also like the feminine. There's a lot of mirroring that's happening here. May I please have one card to clarify? We like this. 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 All right. So what are we seeing right now? For masculine and feminine energy that is working right now in partnership. This is, again, the power of the partnership at play. Because just as we saw that the masculine energy started their day in that place of emotional overwhelm, kind of potentially needing to lean on the support of the feminine. Feminine energy is also matching that vibration. Masculine, almost seeing the level or degree of something impacting the feminine right now is actually creating a sense of empowerment for you. It's almost like taking something out of context right now. And again, it's almost like showing you the security and the stability of the partnership at this moment. Because it is whatever this is that is making the feminine either feel like they can't be emotionally open or vulnerable, or they're feeling this emotional overwhelm. This is almost like a commitment from the masculine that is coming to the forefront. It's almost energizing you to see the feminine like this, because that mirror is almost like, I'm going to make this right. We're going to make this right. I'm going to find a way to make this right. Feminine, you're doing this for the masculine too, even while you're mirroring a lot of the same feelings that they're having right now. There's a commitment in terms of what you're trying to create that is superseding the emotions that you're feeling at the point of trying to do it. There's almost a point right now of focusing on that long-term path, that long-term goal and partnership, and empowering each other. It's a gift of empowering each other right now that is actually creating that state or space of confidence. It's knowing that you're not alone in this. That's creating that vehicle by which you feel like you can actually make change. Masculine and feminine energy that is in separation right now. This is, again, feeling like a lot more of a triggering space, specifically because for the energies that are trying to come into partnership right now, this is masculine and feminine completely mirroring each other. There's a feeling that you're both waiting for the other person to do something. Each of you, I need to stress this, each of you are looking at the other one and saying, who is first? Who is going to take action? Show me you can do this. Because I'm almost seeing here that like as soon as one does it, the other does it. Because the alignment is there, the desire's there. This is now, like I said, a bit of a stalemate to say who's going to do it first. I almost see a situation. You gotta be like, all right, we're gonna count to 3, and on 3 we're all gonna do this. All right, we're gonna do this at 4 o'clock. We're all gonna do this at 4 o'clock. I'm gonna tell you whatever you want to know. At 4 o'clock, you're gonna send that email. Do whatever you need to do. We're gonna do it at the same exact time, and then the other person's gonna be like, on 3 or after 3. Like it's gonna be one of these situations. Like really, you know, like that's what we're effectively seeing right now. Because for feminine, you know, there's a moment right now that masculine's asking them to become vulnerable, and feminine's going, I can't be vulnerable right now. I can't tell you these things because you're not taking this action. And masculine's going, I can't take this action because you're not being vulnerable to me. Masculine and feminine energy in separation. This is that moment. And again, I actually will see that for some of the masculine energy, this could be indicative that the masculine steps first. Is what I'm really seeing. Because there could be a moment right now that the feminine hits such a point of overwhelm that it kind of snaps you back. And I will point out, it's almost like the feminine energy reaching the emotional overwhelm like this gives masculine energy the confirmation they need that the feminine energy does care because they're getting overwhelmed, and that's the proof. Okay, so that could happen too. That could be the masculine energy getting the confirmation from the feminine in the over emotionality that may spill forth today, and the fact that the feminine is like in that point of flux. Let's move with intentionality instead of letting that happen, okay? For masculine and feminine energy that is in separation, this is that beautiful energy that we see right now of the feminine really kind of picking themselves up by their bootstraps. This is feminine energy that is literally sitting here, and this is beautiful because this is feminine energy saying, I'm in a moment of emotional overwhelm or disassociation. I'm not feeling any level or degree or desire to be vulnerable at this time. But damn it, I'm going to do it anyway. But darn it, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to do it anyway. Because again, this is feminine energy that is motivating themselves by what they are aspiring for, not necessarily getting caught in how they feel at this time. For masculine energy right now, again, this is that moment. And again, for some of the masculine energy, this might be more than one manifestation of feminine at this time. I just need to stress this. For some of the masculine energy right now, what you're trying to move towards right now is either a single manifestation of feminine that you are recognizing. It's not only the fact that you feel like this energy is in a space or place where you might recognize why they're somewhat hesitant to be vulnerable to you, but you're not sure where their emotions are at this point. Again, there's something in this space and place in between. You're getting yourself into a space or place to try to find out. This is you kind of coming to a point and being like, the need and the desire to figure that out in the face of that is almost what's motivating you at this time. For masculine energy, this other part of the masculine collective in separation right now, this could be more than one energy right now that you're effectively trying to move towards in this capacity. This could be more than one energy that you're trying to build that point of connection back up with right now, as it relates to effectively being able to articulate to them what you affect. This is more about, I'm seeing more the autonomy energy of wanting to articulate what it is that you actually desire, to see if they are also open to it. But again, for both energies right now, this is that point of activation. It's going to feel like that moment of energy coming in. For feminine, you're also getting that energy despite how you're feeling. Bottom of the deck on today's read right now, communication hurdles abound. Lack of communication today, lack of planning, issues with planning, issues with communication. Make sure you're communicating. Make sure you're using your words. If you can't use your words, make sure you're articulating on why you can't use your words. The lack of communication right now, or the hurdles around plans and communication, are key right now. So make sure that you're being as articulate as possible as you proceed forward from this point. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and experiencing it with me. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, graystrega.com. My private readings are done over video with the option, and if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber ID at the point of payment. Please keep in mind that if you book a reading with me, it is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading and you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you would like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never inbox you. I will never DM you. I will never slide into your PMs and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. I want to thank you so much for being here with me today and sharing in these readings, and we will do this again tomorrow.